Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Doc Skinner with 1028 Live. It is December 20th. Where is time going? I got 5 days to Christmas. That's right, 5 days to Christmas. And yeah, I'm going to do a show on Christmas. So if you're just chilling and you've done with all your packages and your big dinner, lunch, dinner, dinner, as my friend would say, dinner, join me. I'm going to do a Christmas special, maybe. I guess you might. I don't know. No, I know. I think I know. At least I like to tell myself I think I know what I'm going to do next. So join me next Tuesday, right? Where's my calendar? Where's my cool groovy? Oh, I didn't put my calendar up, did I? Yeah, I did. All right, so Tuesday, Christmas. Now you like my backdrop? Did a little rearranging. Had what's the word I'm looking for? Someone had some advice on doing something a little different, so I did. Stayed up all night and kind of rearranged where I was going to do my show. So thank you, Dylan Monroe, for this amazing thing. This right here, ladies and gentlemen. You see this? This right here is going to be the roadmap of topics of discussion. This is going to be my. Someone wanted me to get a wheel to spin, but those things are expensive, and I didn't want to make it. So this is pretty cool. But today we're going to be talking about right down here. Can't really see it. It's DEWS, direct energy weapon technology, and how it's connected. And on the map, talks about the LA Inferno. Talk about things like that. Anyway, so I shouldn't get stumped, right? I should have something to talk about for every show. If you don't know about Dylan Monroe, go check out. Deep State Mapping Project. Just went blank there for a second. But Dylan Monroe, check him out. Art and knowledge. Just look at it. Just look at it. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna run out of stuff to talk about. And it's just look at it. Thank you, Dylan. And it's my artwork. It's my artwork. Yes. And I know some of the other guys that have it, but where's my camera? There we go. But they have the poster sizes. I got the big gigantic, like you see at the Met Museum or the whatever museum. I don't even get to go to museums, but I know what museum would put this up there. And so that's going to be our roadmap, folks, for however long the Lord's willing to let me do this show. Okay, so lots of things are, someone's beeping in. That's okay. Lots of things are going on. If you're not getting ready or prepared, I'm not spooking anybody. Off Grid Magazine's new edition is out, Urban Survival. I suggest you go pick this up or get a subscription because if anybody's been watching Q, it's gonna get wild. But for the better. So, all right. So tonight on 1028 Live, we have a brilliant young man of our time, as I love to title him, because he is. I'm not embarrassed to say that I get lost sometimes when he's going, but then I hear something and I catch right back up. Brilliant. Humbled to be in this young man's presence. He's got an amazing future ahead of him. So what I'm going to do is bring him out of the green room, and I've been thinking about doing something. I'll bring it up once we have him on board. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Josh Toms.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Doc, for having me. Hope everyone's having a good night. So, I like geometry and magnets and energy, and I mean, we can talk all kinds of things, Doc. So
Oh, I
Um,
know, I know.
it's
But
a
real quick, let's get the personal stuff out. So you doing stuff for the holidays?
it's just gonna be me and my wife,
Is this your
and
first Christmas as newlywed still?
no, we've been married for 3 years.
Oh my gosh, you guys seem like you're so madly in love. I thought you were just got married.
Well, you get lucky sometimes, I suppose. But yeah, she found me through my artwork, so she likes geometry, and she started a group on Facebook. People can check out called Sacred Geometry Visionary Artist Group, and you can join it. Um,
Okay.
and there's like 10,000 people, and she's got a page with 80,000 people on it. So she's
Wow.
big into geometry, and it really helps, when you find somebody that you agree with on things. I mean, we still talk about things and, debate ideas, but, it's not like, it makes things easy. Got to
Nice.
find the ideological, you got to find the neutral ground with people. And a lot of what I talk about is that neutral. We got to find that harmony with everything. And a lot of the geometry research I've done has come from Coral Castle code research.
Yes, you want
And
me to pull this up and you can tell people where the site is and they can follow along with us if you want to do that.
yeah,
All right, let
so
me pull that up for you.
I've been learning from a man named John Depew, and he made a website. Oh, well, there's the Coral Castle. See, this is the actual museum website here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's okay. This is good to show, though. It shows the actual thing here. So Coral Castle is in Homestead, Florida,
So, do
and it was
you want me to get
built
photos
by
from here?
L.L.C. Scallon. Go to gallery. Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's always good to have a visual when you're telling things, I think.
oh, no, absolutely. I love that you can actually do this,
With
because most of what I have ever done, if you go to my art page, Josh Tom's Art on Facebook, I usually don't even say anything. I just post pictures and videos, animations, and experiments and nature. I think the world around us speaks more than the words that we have to define them. So, and I guess I'm kind of pretty biased because I do not have the best writing skills. You know, I
this
can.
one, this one right here.
No, it's Josh. The one below it, Josh Tom's Art, with the 1,100 likes or 11,000 likes.
Oh, down here. I'm sorry. I was right here.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. So
All right. So facebook.com/J Tom's Art.
and then if you go to really anywhere, videos or photos.
And
So
you do
here are
all
these.
this on the computer?
Yeah, these are animations I've done for John Depew. He is a researcher of the Coral Castle. His website is coralcastlecode.com. So he's been studying this book right here called Magnetic Current. And this book was written by Edward Leeds Scallon from Latvia. He wrote it in 1945, and this book is a bunch of experiments and essentially a new direction that our society should head. And it's been ignored by our society because a lot of the experiments our physicists think they understand, because some of them are not exactly new experiments. They're like throughout history in electrical understanding, these simple little experiments have just been kind of expanded upon. Like batteries are always batteries. They're just either bigger or smaller, or these different things don't really change. But what Ed was doing was working on a perpetual motion holder, which is blasphemy in science. But what he did was he made two coils on a giant solid iron core, and it was like a U-bolt, and he'd run the current through it. And later, And you can find the experiment and go look it up. I'm not going to explain it all for people. So just look Edward Leeds Callan, Coral Castle, perpetual motion holder, magnetic wheel. If you could
You
go
might
back,
have to say that again slowly for some people.
Magnetic Current is the book.
Okay.
Coral Castle is the location. Edward Leeds Callan is the person. And search up the perpetual motion holder experiment on YouTube. So if you could go back to my Facebook real quick, we could go into just some of what's essentially going on here.
Okay.
So
What part?
So on the cover of the magnetic current book, you'll see a symbol, and just scroll down.
Okay.
And let's watch. It says it's wave, rays, particles as one.
Right down here.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way,
And there's some music, so you might want to mute it.
Okay, I was about to say YouTube, Facebook. This is the man that's making these images, so don't give me a copyright strike.
Yes, I am. I give the rights to
All right.
Doc to use this.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Here we go. And the music's not yours?
It's actually John's music, but
Okay.
just for talking purposes, people can go look it up, and I put music to go with it and everything. So there's the websites.
Okay.
So it looks a little smoother with the live streaming and everything. It's a little choppy, but what's happening really is we're watching a bunch of sine waves, particles, and rays. It's a system of one. It's unity. So let's look at this. It's going to create a flower of life, which everyone talks about.
Yes.
So John was telling me to create these images through understanding the magnetic current and how energy flows over materials in this universe. So energy everything is built up of energy, and most things essentially are kind of in their own nature. So when more energy is put on it, it's moved across the interface, and it's really moving across in these ways. It's a harmonious grid. And so
Dude,
that kind of
you're like fading away because I'm like sinking into this video. It just grabs you.
Oh yeah, and it's really based off of just the yin yang, or the infinity symbol, and it's the Coral Castle code, the symbol. If you look at my picture right there,
wait, hold on.
it's all based off of this.
Wait,
and that's the cover of his book.
There we go. Now I've seen that as a tattoo, multiple places, and so that has a scientific meaning.
From what Ed and John are saying, that is the visual blueprint for the base structure of the universe. And it's the positive, the negative, and the neutral of this universe. So everything in this universe is essentially a battery. It's a positive and negative, and the what they call electrons. But the thing is, Ed said that they perceived it wrong. You can't actually have an electron without the positive and the negative of a magnet. So when you run a generator, you usually have magnets. So with that, it's the base. It's not the electron. So Ed called it magnetricity. It's so what's happening is in magnets, our basic theory has always been just the energy flows from a north to the south pole of a magnet. But if you look at these drawings, and
let me go back to that.
let's actually get out of this and let's go to some images and show some people just some still stuff. This is a little choppy, and people can see those on their own. Okay. And I love this. This is amazing that we can do this. Yeah, go to photos.
All right.
So let's just scroll through that a little bit, and let's click on that. Yeah, there's Tesla. So right next to him, to the left of Tesla, click on that image and let's show this. So this is I don't exactly know where this is at, but this is a Peruvian art display in a church. I don't know where it's at. I found it on the internet. If somebody could tell me, it'd be really amazing. But do you see that?
Yeah. It's what four sets, right? Or four singles. Because
Yeah,
each
absolutely.
set is a single. Okay. Now, what do you
Yeah.
think with is this it's supposed to be a cross, a symbol of a cross, or a representation of time on a clock, or a compass, because you got that star in the middle. Or I mean, man, you can take this so many different ways. That's why I love this stuff.
I would say yes to all. But so really what it is remember in school the XYZ graph? Look at that as the graph and
Uh-huh.
how things can bend infinitely in and infinitely out. It's what they call that. There's a Mayan symbol for it. It's called Hunab Ku, or the galactic butterfly. And it's kind of strange. This is down in Peru, and there's a bunch of roses all around it too, which connects to the Rosicrucian order. So let's get out of this image and move down some more and just, look at the different things I've got here. These are all, essentially, I'm trying to present a bunch of metaphors through studying John's work. He's like, click on that one right there in front of you, the divine template.
This one,
To the right. There you go. Yeah, that one.
the infinity symbol, which is actually the subject of Q the past 24 hours, where Trump was at a tombstone in Arlington, Virginia, at the Arlington Cemetery, and it has that symbol. It's supposedly the only one in the cemetery.
Well, that's very significant. So if you look at this, John Depew put this together. Okay. So you see Ed's symbol at the bottom, north, south, and the gap between the two, the neutral.
That's zero is neutral. Okay.
So then, and the neutral is very important in all of this because in physics, it's called the fulcrum. And Archimedes said, if you have a fulcrum and a long enough lever, you will have the energy to move the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's happening here is you've got, let's say you have one particle of magnetism and you get it flowing. So then you've got the infinity and it's kind of flowing. And then it builds upon itself and expands and builds and expands and builds and expands and builds. And see how the complexity, it's circuitry, it's magnetic circuitry. Wow. So what John and Ed, also a few other colleagues I've been researching with is Scott Lang and Jerry Smith. So these are all inventors. I call them the three wise men in my book. So these guys pretty much have a unique way of looking at the universe. So let's keep going. So it's all built on positive, negative. So you can look at that flower life there that you were pointing at with the foo dog. So
he's in China, right?
Yeah. And so he's supposedly guarding the secrets of the universe, right? Mm-hmm. Well, tell me that those are not those symbols I've been showing you. The yin yangs, they're all yin yangs connecting to each other. So what John has essentially said, and this is very important, and this is something nobody else has ever said before him. And a lot of people are picking up on it now and trying to say that what it is that sacred geometry is actually the first expression or the best expression of magnetic current. It's actually the visual formula of magnetic energies.
Wow. Okay. And this symbol is actually it was burned into the stone, I think they said, in Egypt, in one of the oldest places. Am I correct?
I've seen some stuff on the internet about that.
It's like a water pool area, and on the wall it has a two-dimensional version of the flower of life.
The first time I ever saw that was in Drunvalo Melchizedek's book, The Flower of Life. All right. So if we go to some more images.
Okay. Let me get over here. Oh, by the way, we can't ignore, we have...
absolutely.
Can we do a quick shout out for everybody?
Hi, everybody.
We got Shay Lopez, Edgar. Let's see, 3 other people joined. Taj, Casey, Marga, Roxanne, Paul, Michelle, Gary, Steve, 2 different Steves, Cameron E, Jason, and Prince Fleet Easton royalty. That's pretty cool. So anyway, sorry, I just didn't want them to think we were ignoring them and that this is live. And oh shoot, am I still doing the screen thing? My bad.
Oh, look at that! You're making fractals on the computer.
I am. See?
See?
Oh my gosh!
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
That's very amateur, but in the case of what we're discussing tonight, very appropriate. So it was a good goof.
That's how I go with things.
All
So
right.
yeah, let's go back to some images and we can get, because really it's just visual. Most of what I'm talking about, words do not define the things I'm trying to express to you.
Correct. And you were mentioning that when we were at Disclosure Con. Now, this is okay. This is the moon cycles. And then this stuff looks like the last Starfighter.
Can you make it so that I can see it too?
Oh, my bad. I took it off there because I was going into infinity.
Infinity and beyond.
Right. And I was on the wrong screen to share. There. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go back to where we were. Okay. So we were at the sun going down. Oh, look at that.
So check this out. Let's look at this image. This is kind of a foot. Click on that. Yeah. Click on that. This is kind of an interesting image.
Yes. This is the one I used for the post for the show. So
there's a funny story about this image. One of my friends and I decided to go down and check it out. I was interested in pyramids because I was studying all of this stuff and Masonic orders and geometry and coral castles. So anyways, we went down and found this in Colorado Springs. It's near the Pioneer Museum. It's downtown. Anyways, I went and I wanted to get a picture right down the middle of it where the sun was, but my friend's a photographer and kind of pulled me off to the side, took a picture of me. Needless to say, I posted online, and a few days later, somebody asked me, "Is that Tesla above your head? Look at it." Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That's
I swear to God, it's a true story. But anyways, let's keep looking.
Now, is that the compass? Is that the compass in the square?
No, let's go into the pyramid. So move out of here, and we'll talk about what the pyramid is.
Yes, sir. All right. So where am I going next?
Let's go to the one right below where your cursor's at.
This one?
Yeah, let's click on that real quick. Okay, so this is just a 3, 4, 5 triangles.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's a preview of Ed's wheel. Yeah. So 3, 4, 5 triangles. And what ends up happening is if you put a line through the centers of those blue squares, the red square, the big red square and the white circle have the same perimeter. They're squared circles. So what's happening here is what John has done is he's essentially brought the 3, 4, 5 triangle with phi, the Fibonacci sequence, squared the Fibonacci sequence. I mean, this is incredible. What he has discovered here is a hyperdimensional object. Like in Avengers, they talk about the Tesseract. So let's get out of here.
Do we need to look at that in a 3-dimensional state of mind? Yeah. Imagining it had a 3.
Yeah. I did all the artwork for it. Let's get out of here. I've got the artwork already made for this.
All right.
So if you go down, you see the orange square right there?
This one or this one?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen this. This is cool.
So I put that.
You actually did this paint and brush, right?
I did that by hand. Wow. So I took the ratios of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The cornerstone meets the capstone. It's a fractal reflection. It's a hologram. So essentially, it looks like a cube's floating in the middle there, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's just optical illusion. If you look at it with one eye, it really enhances it because the 2 eyes is depth, and it's a little harder because what's happening here is this geometry is 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, all dimensions at once. So we've always been looking for a new platonic solid, but really what we've been missing is that the next platonic solid was all of the platonic solids in one as like a fractal hologram. Mm-hmm. So then we'll go to another image, just kind of cycle through these.
Okay.
So it's really about spacing and ratios. So scroll up some real quick. We don't want to skip Ed's wheel right there, and the end of the magnet. You see on the left, there's a
Right here.
yeah. Click on that.
Okay.
So this was Ed's wheel. It's got 24 points to it: north, south, north, south.
It looks like you're drawing. That you just showed.
Yeah, I mean, essentially he designed, and what some people have said, Ed had designed an artificial atom. So he had created a system where the energy was flowing in and out of itself, and it was becoming perpetual. Or let's get out of that image, and we'll go.
And I've got people asking if they can ask questions. So I'm probably going to get some questions here for you, but I'll hold off until you're ready.
Okay. Well, let's just make sure we can get through some images for these and just scroll down. And so I do some gemstone faceting, and I've done some gemstone mining for, so those are some of the artwork I've done there. But
isn't this the seed of life?
So what that is, click on it.
Okay. I mean,
So
and there's that logo, and that is, I see that everywhere, but I don't see it with the neutral line in the middle. It's just usually, and that's actually what's in a violin and a cello.
Well, then, and think the lines are the neutral where the music comes out, right?
Right.
So,
whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just, things are quick.
No, this is.
I'm getting excited.
We'll
go to the seed. We'll go to the seed.
This stuff gets people excited when they see it. This is why I've devoted so much to this. So this is in front of the Vatican, right? It's the pineal gland with the two peacocks mirroring each other. But look right below the peacock. Don't you see Ed symbol right there?
You sure do.
You sure do.
But yeah, you just wouldn't think because it's so spread out like this and not more like this.
Well,
I mean, unless you knew it.
So sometimes there's intention and sometimes it's just inspiration is what I'm finding. Because I think we all see this inherently in nature. Look at a tidal wave. I mean, it is nature, the ebb and the flow, the crash of the wave and the back wave coming behind it. That's exactly what it looks like, that symbol.
Okay, next one. Oh.
Yeah,
I got like multiple screens here, and we'll scroll down.
So let's go to that one with the tripod. Do you see that?
Yes. Now I have been to Coral Castle myself, and I got to actually
look how clear that image is.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I wish I could make this bigger for you. I apologize, but it's Facebook.
Well, they can come to my page and check it out.
Exactly.
So that's a big rock.
Yeah,
it's a really big rock he's lifting right there.
Sorry, I'm writing questions down because it's scrolling and I don't want to miss people's questions in case you have it. But yes, I love this design. Now, isn't it? I'm speculating from what I've heard. I'm not saying it's factual, but I have been told through the years that box on top was some type of device that could create a harmonic tone that could make things lighter. Am I even close?
There's a lot of speculation. John has done a lot of research about this, and really, Ed was a simple man, and he had simple machines. So if we take it too far, I think we're missing the point. The point is that he was able to accomplish great things with simple machines. And if you look there, he's made his own chain hoist. Mm-hmm. So he's built off of principles like what I'm talking about.
With the fulcrum and everything.
Fulcrums and levers.
Now, is he cutting the stone there, or?
Well, I've heard a lot of different theories of how he cut the stone. Some say just with a hammer. Some say he moved a big blade with a motor, like his metal door is what some people have said. It moved it back and forth like a saw. And then some people said that he put water and he would use his wheel and the pulsed energy would cut the rock. So this is the thing about this, is that our society has completely ignored this, and that somebody like me who's just really an artist, I'm kind of just a creative person that's interested in the universe, and I'm connecting all these different dots by studying. And what's going on here is that these individuals, these inventors, somebody needs to fund them for one. But what really needs to happen is we need our best men in the world on this. We need to fix the problems of our planet. And I think, I'm involved in researching all kinds of things, but I always fixate on this because I think it is so important to our expansion as a society. I think we can break away into a new civilization. And that kind of prefaces maybe what some institutions are already doing. So if you keep scrolling down, look at that sundial. It's 2 over.
Wait, 2 over. This one? Wait.
From where we were.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, is that because they have it on a pendulum and it's doing this?
No. So if you click on that, at Ed's Coral Castle, he had a sundial, and he had that facing the North Star, and he would track the position of the Earth to the sun throughout the entire year, and that's what it is. So essentially, we move up and down through like that S pattern we were talking about. It's called an analemma. So if you scroll up some, there's some images of analemmas right there. So what it is if you just take a picture every day of the sun at the same time, it'll be in a different location throughout the year, and it makes that symbol. Well, it depending on where you're at, the middle point is. Like if you're in the equator, that moves towards the middle. It balances. If you're more towards the North Pole, it actually becomes a circle. It actually will not have that cross. But what that cross is essentially showing is us passing through the sun's magnetic field, and it's the ebb and the flow. It's Ed's symbol. It's John's magnetic current. What the universe is based on is these ebbs and flows, the motion of the ocean, the positive and the negative. It's so simple. We try and make it complicated, but at its base, it's just positive and negative.
So that is that.
So now click on, go up real quick before you go. You see to the left, there's a black circle. Yeah, that one.
That's the one I said looked like the last Starfighter movie.
So if you expand upon this 3-4-5 principle and you actually incorporate the square or the 51.84 degrees, which is the slope of the Great Pyramid. So you end up getting these ratios, and the ratio is 14 to 11 is the square root of 5. So the height of the Great Pyramid is technically 7, and the base was 11. So if you double the height, so if there's a mirror pyramid, it's 14. So it's really simple math. But if you look at this, it's like you're looking down a tunnel, right? Like if you're looking at a train coming your way.
Uh-huh.
So how would you best orient yourself in space? You would have to be able to define where you're at in space by, so we always use ruler, millimeter, inches, standard or metric.
But when you have nothing to measure it to.
Well, you can't lay out feet to the next galaxy.
Right.
So how would you do that? You would probably I'm just speculating here, but it's just something I've thought of, a geometry like this where you could get the ratios of depth, like spatial depth, that you could actually orient spatial nodes, and you could possibly, if you had teleportation or any kind of things, you could position those nodes in space based off of your geometrical orbital alignment.
Wow.
It's really fascinating geometry the more you look at it, but it's very basic. And it just makes you think about a lot of things too, because of, this geometry I've put on so many different things, and it's just, it's actually malleable.
The thing under 51.84 degrees, to me, I know that's a pyramid in 2-dimensional looking from above, but it just jumps out at me. It looks like a cross from some organizations and groups out there that have been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Like
the Rosicrucian Order.
I think you said it. You said it. But yes. So I'm
Well,
thinking is that one of the secrets they held was, and they put it in plain sight, like a lot of
Ed,
things are.
Ed was a stonemason from Latvia. He
Uh,
was a he was educated in a fourth degree, is what they said, or fourth grade education is what they said. Well, it's different. Let's just say that this knowledge, we may not know the full depths of it, but it's not entirely new.
no, I totally agree that the knowledge has been around forever, but it's been
But
subsided.
John Depew is the one who discovered that it is the and Ed the visual blueprint of magnetic energy. So the sacred geometry, like that's why it's so important to see these mosaics, these tiles, is because it's artist expression of geometrical order. See that? You see those coral
It's
castle
gorgeous.
symbols in there?
Yeah.
See the other one?
Wait, which one? This one?
Oh, any of them. It doesn't matter.
I mean, this one right here is just is that done in wood?
Yeah, and you know what's sad? That was in Syria.
Oh, because I know they
that
were tearing up stuff up there.
when that war kicked off, I started looking around on the internet as best as I could for images of sacred geometry in Syria and churches. So yeah, this is what I think it is you were talking about the magnetic compass, right? And all the different degrees.
Correct.
That's it. Hey,
yeah.
If you go down one below,
okay,
this is evidence that we have more, that car right there. So this is from 9/11. This is down the street from the Twin Towers on Franklin Delano Roosevelt Drive. So the front car is completely annihilated. The engine's missing. The engine block doesn't go missing, people.
What?
Not a fire cannot make engine blocks go missing. Look at that. The plastic is fine on the top of that car, but the rest of it's burnt to ash. So what's happening here is we're in the dawn of a new era, essentially is what they call it. The dawn of a new age. You know, the Batman thing, the Dark Knight, it's darkest just before the night. Well, what's happening is we used to have the philosophical idea that this technology, unlimited energy, breakaway into space, become space bearing, it will have ramifications. So they always said not to use it. Well, I think it's been used finally.
It looks like something I've seen very recently.
So it's been used. So we shouldn't debate anymore if the public should have it for peaceful purposes. It's been used as weapon already. So I think the public should get this at some point. If we can get the funding, I think it's possible to create a new civilization with this technology. But as of now, John isn't talking about much of it. And I have certain things that I'm not, going to go into because that's called a Fabergé egg. The royalty like to collect those. They're very expensive.
Yes, and they have little things inside of them usually. Like the thing will open up and you can look inside.
And you see the Ed symbol on it above the wave.
Right here.
And then the circles too make it.
Yeah, it does.
So, I hop around a lot, and it's because there's so many different connections. That's an Alex Gray painting. That's really cool.
Oh, wow. Wow, that says a lot in that one.
It's like the twin serpents of the medical symbol.
Yes. That's
the DNA.
Mm-hmm. The helix. So let's talk about that. Or did you have something else here? Let's see, there's another one. I want to show your art whenever I can because the art you do is just beautiful.
So that's on a concave image.
Like the inside of a pyramid, not the outside of a pyramid.
Yeah. And I put black light paint on it, and I have people put on special glasses that create a prism effect. Mm-hmm. So the blue pushes away and the orange will come towards you and the green stays in the middle. And that's interesting about light, how that works. And like when you're looking at things in space, when you're looking at galaxies, they're moving away or towards you, and they're either blue or red.
Right.
So these are just,
These are just gems that you work with.
Yeah. I like doing gemstones and stuff. But if you keep looking, there's that was in Thailand.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and that's a wall. So
Yeah.
they had to like build scaffolding to climb up to build this, or levitate. Who knows? They're probably people did that. But I mean, this kind of stuff I so love seeing, because every now and then, like, wait a minute, hold on, hold the phone. Are there two characters at the bottom that have black eyes? At the bottom?
It is interesting. It looks like maybe they're shadow. They might have elephant noses.
Oh, I thought maybe they had alien eyes.
Well, let's keep going because
okay, sorry.
What
pretty.
What this is a collage. It's just
okay. It's all your artwork.
Those are actually called tamari balls. There's a lady that makes them, and they're an ancient Japanese art. And this lady's in Utah. She's an elderly lady. You can look up her work online. Just search tamari balls on YouTube, and you'll probably find them talking about her.
That's hand stitched.
That's right. So what they do is they take a thread and they start wrapping it into a big yarn ball, and then they seamstress sacred geometry on the outside of it. And this is Zen. This is like way old Buddhism.
Wow. I mean,
yeah,
that's some serious patience.
And that's what is neat about all this is I think every culture sees these metaphors. It's the universe. We are in this matrix. The matrix is a self-reflection organism, and we are a reflection of that organism. So we just, we have to look for understanding. I feel like a lot of the time, most books are just people understanding other people. And that is to a degree what I've been doing is learning from other people. But what John has taught me lately too is just to look at nature for answers and to see how nature works and how different things in the universe interact with each other.
Yeah. I've got some people that had a question for you, and they wanted to know what your thoughts were. Yeah, well, and I probably, wait, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, hold on now. I've got the other window of the Facebook page. So there's a delay. It looks like you're talking. There you are. There's the real you. Okay. So Steve Johnson wanted to ask you, I don't know if these people, how much time they have to watch our show for it to get off or whatever, but he wanted to know what you thought about Elon Musk and the Hyperloop. Because at first I thought the Hyperloop was going to be magnetic, but then come to find that he did his big presentation yesterday, I think it was yesterday, where it was just a car that had wheels that popped up to the side, kind of like on a roller coaster. It just zips you through. Another I thought was like the tubes at the bank. It was going to suck you through, but it didn't turn out that way. So anyway, Steve Johnson would like to know what you think about the whole Hyperloop. That's one of the questions I wanted to get that out of the way.
Well, I like the concept of digging underground because, for one, nobody really wants like a you know how loud drones are. You don't want a drone starting up next door in the morning and taking off to go to work and then hearing all these drones up in the atmosphere. I mean, maybe if we had UFO technology with anti-gravitics, but for now, our civilization has what it has, and we do have good technology for digging. You can see the military is using it big time with all of the defense money that they get to dig underground facilities. So as for the way you travel in those tubes, that'll change. Like we don't drive Model Ts anymore, but I think there's more geometry underground than there is where we're at right now, because we're all living essentially in a two-dimensional world with roads. I mean, sometimes they stack the roads, but that's really expensive. So, but I think there could be some problems with the underground stuff too. Like they're putting it in California. Have we not learned about the earthquake problem with Fukushima already? I think we're just kind of nincompoops sometimes, and we think more about money instead of, maybe if you wanted to do the Hyperloop, at least, I don't know. I really have a worry about the earthquake problem, I suppose, but I like how Japan did the magnetic train. I think it's a good idea, but magnets are expensive because rare earth elements are monopolized by China right now. So we don't really have like neodymium magnets, which are a really strong material. It's a rare earth element. Since '08, they've probably tripled in price.
Wow.
So
what countries are they coming from, those minerals?
Mostly China, the rare earths. The New World Order, or the IMF, or whoever you want to call them, the people that wanted to build up China, they started building up China, and they allowed them these rare earths. We're in Afghanistan, from what I understand, for a really long time now, but we don't get the benefits of that lithium.
Right.
China gets a lot of that lithium. They're doing the contracts. They're getting the deals. They're going to a lot of these countries. They're doing the mining. I like mining. I think what we should do as a civilization is move off and mine the asteroid belt. We could all become trillionaires. I like Elon Musk because he dreams. I'm not saying I agree with, that we go in the directions he's going or whatnot, because I think we could do it a lot cheaper and easier if we just, I guess, got creative and became more clever
with real Tesla technology.
And if with how things are going nowadays and how the money supply is and how, I don't know, just the global financing. Do you ever heard Catherine Austin Fitts?
Yes.
And the secret financing and all those different. So I really think that there's some technology out there that they already have that they just don't want people to have. And maybe they're afraid, maybe it's greed. Really what it is at the end of the day, I'm coming to these conclusions that we need to, we have to stop ourselves from destroying ourselves, because I think we're going to. Mm-hmm. I think we're just, if we can build underground and have cars that are electric, because you don't want a car underground with smog, you all die in those caves. So if however they do it, as long as, let's say, it lowers commute time, because more commute time means more stress on people. The more stress on people means the more anger in our society. We need balance in our society. We need people, I guarantee you your value, your quality in life is way better if you can get to where you need to go with less ease. It's path of least resistance. So here's an example. Paul Stamets, a mushroom researcher, he's a big time name out there. And they found that if they placed nutrients at certain hubs of a map, like they took the map of the Tokyo subway system is the experiment, and they put nutrients at each of the hubs where the people would get on, and they'd get the mushrooms growing. And they found that if they did simulations of how the mushrooms grew for the transit systems, it was like 85% more efficient than how we had done it. I mean, I get it. We have permits. We have all these societal rules, all these red tape regulations, all these things stopping us from really achieving this breakaway. So it's really about, I think nature can tell us things that we don't normally see. So the mushrooms were showing us that they knew a better connection path. Maybe we should try and use them for understanding how path of least resistance. So in most cars, you have a certain amount of copper wire, and you have to have the current load and the current resistance and the current voltage and amps. These, if you have any of them wrong, your thing's not going to run. Or if you have too much of it, you're going to burn up your wires, or you're going to waste energy. So I guess the world is just a very simple but very complex. It's that chaos and order. So I guess I would like to see better transit. Obviously, I would love to be able to go to the moon. I think we should all build a Coruscant, like from Star Wars, a giant global civilization, a big city on the moon, and we turn the Earth into our greenhouse. I mean, what
it used to be.
Exactly. We just become caretakers for the Earth, and we come here to visit and to care and nurture. We're the only animals, and we are animals. We're no different. I think animals, to an extent, have more morals than we do. They care for each other. They only kill to survive or to defend, So I think we are the protectors of this planet, and we should protect it. And we should do it by embracing these new technologies, becoming peaceful, and just moving our civilization outwards, and inwards too. We need to discover ourselves through this process too. We need to find what is our balance, what is our harmony. And, that's part of another thing I really like to look into is like mind research and how you can work with the universe. And, if the Buddhists do mantras and chants, and I'm not saying I do that, but I'm saying that they put their bodies in a vibration. And that's what the point of a lot of this is. And what Tesla talks about is frequency, energy, and vibration. So with those things, if you bring love into your heart and you imagine a beautiful future ahead and a great, it sounds outrageous, a utopia. I know it will probably never happen, but it's better than to envision hell. You played Doom probably, right?
Oh yeah, back in the
we don't want Doom.
Not right.
We don't want Doom. We don't want the game Diablo, these hell worlds. We want to build a society of harmony and sustainability, and where we can evolve and prosper and find out what the true destiny of humanity is. I just feel like sometimes it's so hard to get such a complex message out there in small little interviews like this. But, the point of this is that geometry can become a small little thing, a small little seed in the human eye, and it will expand into inventions. It'll expand into artwork. It'll expand into architecture. It'll expand into the most important part of our civilizations, the tunnels. I mean, I saw Elon Musk talking about how just, we've got how many miles down we can dig compared to our atmosphere even. Our atmosphere is not that thick.
Right.
So I think I like him. I like him a lot. And I think he's been warning us about AI supercomputers too, and the power that brings. We all love science fiction, like in your pictures behind you.
Yeah. Can you segue from that? You were mentioning AI. Elon Musk is he's been very adamant of getting his message across. And he uses a reference, the Exorcist movies. He says, when that minister comes in, he says, "Oh, I got this. I can handle this." And they don't. He says, that's AI. And I'm already seeing it. Videos are popping up on YouTube. A guy with this theory that the institution, the group, the individual, whatever, Q, that has been helping the alliance versus the deep state, he is speculating that the only way that this guy or this individual, this person or group could have all this information on all these people and be revealing things from months in advance to a few hours in advance and it be accurate. Now, there's been a couple things, but that's because the deep state was figuring stuff out. But his theory is that Q is actually an AI quantum computer. So that right there scares the hell out of me. It's quite compelling that there's something out there that can do that, but it scares the hell out of me. I'm excited. It's benefits that are coming from it for this whole Q thing because it's really cool. I'm enjoying it. It's like living inside the Da Vinci Code and being one of the people figuring things out. But yeah, if Q wasn't John, or wasn't General so and so, or wasn't Ivanka Trump, texting the whole time out of her little wing office, it's this AI thing has really got me thinking. So, do you agree with Elon? Even though he has put out an AI computer that's up in the International Space Station, you know about that, right? The floating head.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, yes. It's up there, the International Space Station. It's a round ball with a flat side with an LED screen or touch screen, and it has a smiley face. And he sits there and he talks with the astronauts. He helps them with.
Oh, that thing. Oh no,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
so
and he
here
was
he is,
like
he's
having
kind of-
hurt feelings reports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He goes, stop being mean. It's like, damn.
Don't be mean to me.
Yeah,
I'll take over your planet.
Yeah, all he has to say is Dave.
I'm politically correct robot. I'll take over your planet.
Right. It's like Sophia.
I'm Ultron.
It would be crazy how all of these AI computers become a big transformer like Voltron. I'm sure a lot of people know Voltron is, but
I mean, look at the robots they're making. You can tell they're getting ready to make soldiers. You can see it.
I'm hoping one day they'll sponsor me.
Excuse me, my nose is itching.
So AI has really taken a thing. Now we have these quantum computers. Have you been researching the quantum computers?
Well, there's see, I'm never too black or white with things. I know that there's a bad side to this AI supercomputer thing, but I think that we could need this. We remember Han Solo, right? He's in the Millennium Falcon. He's dialing up the stuff to go in light speed. And Luke comes up. He's like, why can't we just go in light speed? He looks at me and said, do you want to go through a supernova?
Or a planet or a asteroid field?
We need computers. We need them.
Computers like that. I was going to ask that. That was my question. Do we have computers like that? Because I know we have our spacecraft, and then there is the secret space fleet. I'm sure that they would have something like that because that they would be able to travel at certain speeds because everything that NASA tells us, is 30, 40 years behind.
Well, 10 years ago, just saying space fleet, but now Trump released the Space Force. Mm-hmm. So we can actually say that there is technology in space. I'm sure the military probably has space-based weapons. That's an unfortunate thing. I know that there's been a lot of people that tried to stop that, but it's a challenge. I don't know. I mean, these are all paradoxical questions. We really are at that Revelations apocalypse kind of moment in our society where we're going to unveil, where it's going to be pulled back at some point. And, where are these trillions going? There's trillions and trillions going missing.
Yeah.
Where's it going?
Well, I have all my theories, but it ain't to the school system. I can promise you that.
So you said you had some more questions. What other questions were there?
Oh, it was that one, and then what was the other one?
Because they can just lead us in good directions.
Well, actually, everybody's just kind of watching. Steve was asking about that, and then Prince Fleet Easton was saying something about sacred geometry. He just said sacred geometry, so I don't know where in the discussion it was.
Well, let's go back into some images then.
Okay, let me get over there and share the screen. And anybody has questions, please be sure to just type it in the chat room, and I will relay it to Josh. Let's see which screen. There we go. That screen, and hit share. All right, do you see it now?
Yep.
Now I am one. This
Click on
one
those
of
fractals real quick.
this one or the Mandela or the Mandelbrot.
Yeah, the fractals.
All right. Well, there's two of them.
That one.
Yeah, this is the Mandelbrot.
So you see how it makes a smaller one and a smaller one and a smaller one? So that's what, I mean, the universe is that. And those look like energy, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like roots and energy?
Like a bush or something. And let me look at the other one, 'cause I know there was a second one. This is just a more interior where you see all the individual little Mandelbrots, but within that Mandelbrot, you have another little Mandelbrot, another little Mandelbrot. It's infinite or infinite. That's not a word, or unless I just can copyright that tonight. But infinity is what I was trying to say. I actually have been attracted to this image since my I guess college days. Yeah, college. I think that's when I learned about it, was at UNT. And I mean, I wasn't going to UNT. I was living up by UNT. And the Mandelbrot set, it was everywhere. It was on T-shirts. It was on posters. It was the thing to see.
And if you look at it, though, everything's coming from that neutral.
Mm-hmm.
There's the 2.
Right here.
And it's coming from the middle. Mm-hmm. So if you look at our planet, it's just that thin strip where life is between the earth and the sky.
When you really look at it like that, yeah, we are just a tiny thin line on a gigantic ball.
We're the membrane.
Oh, let me ask you real quick.
Yeah.
Do you believe flat or round Earth?
Analema proves that it's round, but if you're living in a simulation, it could be anything. Technically, it could be whatever the person running the computer is telling you it is. But I think we live on a round planet. If you look at the moon, it's round. If you look at the sun, it's round. If you look at any of the planets with a telescope, they're round. Mm-hmm. They have, there's the North Pole of Saturn. It's a hexagon.
And I want to ask you about Saturn. My friend Rex Bear, who you met at DisclosureCon, didn't you? Did you get to meet him?
Briefly. It was probably about 5 minutes, unfortunately. That's all I got to meet him.
He did a post, and this isn't something, it was new, I guess, on the show, but I've heard about it for years. It was a certain project. The basis of it was portrayed in the movie 2010, where they detonated Saturn to make it a second star, a solar system within a solar system. So I was curious if you had any information on that, because there's just something so special about Saturn, especially the fact of the geometric shapes of the North. Is it just the North or the North and South Pole that has this shape?
It's both. So really what Saturn is, this is what Ed said the sun is. So there's a lot of speculation of what a sun is. Is it a nuclear reaction? Some people used to say it was a big lump of coal burning, but
it's like gas though, right?
So what it most likely is the materials, a bunch of hydrogen or a gas, and what's happening is they have formed together just like Saturn or Jupiter. And what ends up happening is, because the sun is the center gravitational focus of our solar system, it's getting the full force of the center of our galaxy's gravitational pull and the energy coming out of the center. And that's what John told me, was that it's an obstruction. So like if you look at an old incandescent light bulb, it's a tungsten coil. And really what it is the tungsten is glowing red hot. And by glowing red hot, the heat releases the magnets, the energy, the light, the photons, all these and it's glowing. It's releasing energy through the obstruction of energy. So light really is just the obstruction of energy. So like if you look at a Tesla coil when it's running, you can turn it up to a point where it won't actually shoot lightning out the outside of it. And it's just, there's still a field of energy around it, but you can't see it until it starts burning the atmosphere. And the reason it burns the atmosphere is because it's an obstruction.
Wow.
So when, like friction, you rub your hands together, it starts getting hot.
Uh-huh.
If you did it fast enough, hard enough, it probably melt. Yeah, you burn yourself. It'd melt together or whatever. So, yeah. Ouch.
Yeah.
So
it's a creepy image in my head.
Magnets really are just about hot and cold. Hot magnets they release, and cold they compress. And so let's go to some more images.
Okay.
Yeah, these are very.
And then when we can, we're already an hour into the show. I did title it, Do Technology. So I'd like to talk to you about the direct energy technology.
Okay, well.
But let's get back to the photos, and I'll share this. And where is it? There we go. Share, and then go back to art. All right, so there's another Fabergé egg. A lot of this. Now this is all tiles. Oh yes, this is in a church, correct?
That's at the Vatican.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was some big name church.
So that's actually the geometry of how energy flows over a wire is through a right-hand twist.
Mm-hmm.
So when Ed was pulsing energy over a wire, he'd put compasses over and orient the wire to the spin of the earth. And he was actually finding that it's a right-hand helical twist when the energy flows, and they flow against each other. So it's like a giant tornado.
Now it doesn't look like it's very feng shui. Like the bottom, it looks wider, and then it gets a little middle. So is that how energy? It's not a beautiful flow. It has its kind of randomness.
Okay, well,
or is that just a bad photographer?
Well, think of the arm of the galaxy compared to the arm of a wave. Every wave is different. It's just based off of really how much energy is in it.
Okay.
Like when you're a kid, you're doing jump rope. You could like whip it at them slow, or you could whip it hard, or
And it would kind of lag if you did slow. And yeah. Okay. So wow.
And they made a bunch of those columns too. And it isn't interesting. There's geometry wrapping around it, little tile mosaics.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, in my animation, it has the geometry flowing in the structure.
Josh, how do these artists, sculptors, painters, whatever, how did they visually see? I mean, what did they see? Did they see nature, or did they see ripples in water? I mean, what inspired them to delve into this mathematical magic of geometry?
Most of the most brilliant minds have always come to the conclusion that it must have taken an intelligent creator, some sort of a design, some sort of something order out of chaos, right? So Einstein, Isaac Newton, even John Depew, some other people,
Steve Jobs. Yeah,
there's a lot of individuals.
A lot of them were influenced by, some say, the Akashe records. They were tapped in, and they would see things, and they, like the iPhone or Einstein's theory of relativity, or the Hindu guy that's like a mathematical genius. I can't think of his name right now, but a lot of them have said that they, would have dreams, or they would feel that they were connected to something that was downloading this information to them. Well, and I mean, do you believe in the Akashe field?
Well, I've looked into a lot of metaphysical stuff because I've got some friends into it. I don't really delve into. I mean, I know that information can be stored in crystals because that is what a silicon conductor is in your computer. So I'm not saying that I don't, but I'm always one of those people that wants to see. I want to see it in the world. I want to experience it. So I've experienced crystal information. I mean, if you take two leads and solder them into a quartz crystal and smack that quartz crystal with a hammer, you get voltage out of it. So there's energy in rocks. I do mining. I do some gemstone cutting. I understand gemstones because if you think about it, most of our technologies, most of the materials in our world, where did they come from? The rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So rocks and matter. So that's at the Grand Masonic Lodge in Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
And I
It
went
kind of has
there.
it has an oriental feel to it.
That was called the Oriental Room, actually.
Oh,
That's good.
that's funny.
So they had an Egyptian room, all kinds of rooms.
Let me go back here. So yeah, I already went that way. And so you do this, you create
Yeah,
these crystals.
well, that's a topaz that I actually mined.
So
And
wait, you went and okay, so you went mined it out of the earth, and then you chisel it down to a jewel.
that's right.
Dude, no wonder. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's how you got a very good looking wife. She's like, oh, he can make jewelry, and he knows science. He's got a brain. He's gonna pay the bills, So that's a man right there. That's like one of those manly crate commercials where the guy comes in and goes, I'm just gonna make a ring right out of the ground.
Well, I
That's
live in
a topaz.
Colorado, so when you have lemons, you make lemonade.
Right. Okay, so there's that, and then
Yeah, let's just go back to the whole collage and scroll through. So you see that orange image?
this one or this one?
Yeah, click that.
That's
So
pretty.
what the guy did here, his name's search magnetic warp on YouTube. But what it is it's two pieces of glass pressed together with a ferrofluid, which is a magnetic ink, and he put LED lights to shine through it, and he put a magnet right to the end. So that's the end of a magnet. Look at that geometry. That's a north pole of a magnet. That's not in the books. That's not in the books.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in school. See, this is the Mr. Wizard. What? Poor Mr. Wizard. Why did he have to leave us? He made science fun, and he would have done stuff like this if he had computers and technology like
Well,
that.
and let's think about it. Bill Nye, the science guy, would probably be more into this stuff if he wasn't all politically motivated. Everybody's
You said it.
focusing on politics these days. What really we need to do what John F. Kennedy said, to the moon. We need to go back to space. We need people to look up again. Everyone's looking down on their phones all the time. We need people to have a reason to look up again.
Amen. I was saying amen, like agreeing with you.
Amen Ra.
Yep. I mean, is it crazy how everything is connected? Because it is.
It is.
But when you talk to somebody and, so if they had no idea and you told them amen meant Amen Ra, they'd be like, I'm not worshiping some Egyptian god. Yeah.
Well, think of this. What is the analema? We talked about the analema. Okay, we're around Christmas time right now. I think tomorrow's the 21st. We're actually at the low point tomorrow. So there's our solstice. So tomorrow's the solstice. It's the lowest point. So that means we have the shortest day, right? So less sun. So we're moving to the sun. Okay, so they said the fallen sun, the one sun will rise again. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The one son, Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Jesus was the one son. He was fallen and he will rise again. That is the sun.
Yeah.
The sun has fallen. Tomorrow
people confuse it with SUN and SON.
But it's the opposite for Australia. It's their summertime tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the universe is interesting, because it may be our coldest, darkest hour when Christ is at its lowest, and the sun will rise again, and the farmers will get the crops that they desire in the spring. It's the hope of new to come. That's what the fallen sun means in December 21st. It means that it's a new year. That really should be our new year.
Yeah. Wow.
But so, yeah, it's just, with all the things out in nature. We should be more inspired and happy. And, especially in the first world, I'm guilty of it. We all are. We complain about things. We find the negative things, and we should find not just the positive in things, but the balance of the two. We should start finding what we agree with people. We should start talking to everybody about what we agree with, and then we can start developing connections. Mm-hmm. Then when we build more connections and we can actually talk to each other instead of just, oh, you voted for who, write you off. You know what? We're never going to actually get into what we came here to talk about, directed energy weapons. We're not going to talk about any of this technology, any of the things that this technology implicates. Ed lifted 20,000-pound rocks by himself, little man. Wouldn't you love to have a castle instead of a house built out of
something flammable?
Stucco and something flammable? Exactly. You could build a stone castle or whatever. We have the technology of the future. What do you want to build? See, this is the thing. We need to become inspired as individuals to create positive technology instead of this negative stuff where we're killing, we're destroying, we're manipulating, we're taking advantage of people. These AI supercomputer algorithms where we can figure out, oh, hey, there's Alex Jones. We'll take him off the internet. We'll never let him on YouTube ever again. And then we'll just go to the next guy, then the next guy, then the next guy. And it's the same thing with Optimus Prime. You've got Optimus Prime's voice. You can't even have that on the internet because it's copyrighted.
Oh, me? Yeah. Did I do that voice? Yeah.
But yeah. I'm sure you sound just like.
No, actually, I auditioned. I auditioned for the part for the
Autobots roll out.
Transform and roll out.
Sorry, it's been a while.
It's all right. It's funny though. But the point is, that we should have fun with this stuff. Everyone in this society gets so serious about things, and it is serious. Well, it is serious, and it matters. But we have to take this higher ground where we're going to be like, oh, you don't know about this stuff, and we're just going to say, hey, here you go if you want to look it up, and then we just move on. We don't need to rub people the wrong way. We don't need to get argumentative with people. What we should do as a movement,
don't force feed.
Don't force feed, because you push people away. But really, what we need to do, we just need to find facts, things that. I'm all about listening to Coast AM and those shows and listening to whatever, the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, all that stuff. But I want facts. I love science fiction. I love thinking about what could be in this world. Anything in this infinite universe could technically be happening, but on this planet, who knows? But the point is, we have to be the truth positive movement in this society. We have to come together as people. We need to find what we can agree on and find facts and just build on that, because we all are like with lights looking at these different holes trying to dig up all this information, but we don't ever bring it back. And, some of us are doing a good job of bringing people together like you are, Doc. You bring people together, and that's really what it's about. Is we need to build community. And that's one thing I love that my wife did with the geometry art, was she built a community. I went out there and did an energy movement it was called the Million Volt March. And I did this movement and went in front of Independence Hall and marched for energy technology, sustainable energy technologies. And, not a lot came from it. I ended up meeting the Crown Prince of Serbia. It was just hype. It wasn't that big of a deal. I showed him my art, but it's like, even the people on top that have the power, they do not have the imagination. They're all wrapped up in just what is and what was. And okay, some of us are thinking about the future, but then people like to tear those people down. And that's another thing I'd like to talk about in our society. We have got to stop, I know this is way off subject of what we're talking about, but it's really fundamental. We have got to encourage people to go out there and be who they are, to be, because how I see it in this society, everyone's trying to get ones on each other.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy. It doesn't build community. It gets everybody fighting with each other. And it's like that divide and conquer thing. I think for the truth to really be known, we have to come together like Martin Luther King, like Gandhi, these big figures. We have to come together and we have to become just a bastion of truth, where we want the truth, where we want these things disclosed. We want to know where our money's going. Why is our money going into technologies that
we don't get to,
we don't even know about?
Yeah, we don't get the benefit from this technology. Only these special select individuals.
Well, and we don't even know what we're making. Like, we all talk about this as a Christian Judaic society. Well, okay, we've got all these hidden secret programs. What are we funding? Do anybody care where our dollars going? Everyone talks about Planned Parenthood and the injustices there, but we just saw an article recently in China where they're doing gene editing, and that scientist is now missing. That guy.
That's CRISPR, right? The CRISPR program.
I don't know what it was called. I just saw it on Drudge, and the guy had gene edited a baby and released it to the public that it had happened. And now, like a month later, after the story had kind of fizzled out and died, just on the bottom story, that guy's missing. So the Chinese government just whoop, adios.
They're using him for his skills. Who knows? I mean, it's a dark world, but I see good things coming. But there is a war going on. People don't think it, but there's a world war that is going on under the radar, and it's happening every day. And I think the new technology is one of the new weapons in their arsenal.
It's covert.
Yes, it's so covert because people say, "Oh, I saw lights and stuff." Now I run lasers at work, and I know I can't see them unless I fog up the room. So you can't technically see it, but I have seen images.
Well, like I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't really see a light until something is resisting it, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay, that's the same with energy. You don't see the energy until something is resisting it, and then you will see the glowing of the light, the energy being released. So, what's happening really is that there's technologies, and there's people. We have this Trump revolution that happens, this political movement, and you've got all these Republicans in Congress trying to help him. Most of these people have no clue anything happening. They're literally stuck in the 1970s, I would say. I would say Congress and our government is stuck in the 70s, where literally nobody understands how powerful the tech elite have become. Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook. These are modern Standard Oils of our time. They're monopolies.
True. Very true. Yeah.
Halliburton, these giant corporations that are bigger than some countries in our world. And we're sending them our tax dollars, like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, to build weapon systems. Let's say we ever did have a tyrannical government. Everyone on the left wants to take away our guns, but at the same time they say Trump is a tyrant, so it doesn't make any sense,
right?
Wouldn't you want to keep your guns if you wanted to take over your tyrant? So I think the left is just misguided and led like sheep, and unfortunately the right is to the extent the same too. So what happens is we have got to, us truth seekers, connect to these people who are in these matrices, mm-hmm. and find truth pills to give them. And what the truth really is science, because religion and ideology and those doctrines, you're not going to always get to those people. Now, on the contrary, you're not going to get to a hardcore religious person with science either. So we live in a very challenging world right now, but we have lots and lots and lots of money going to technologies that do not benefit mankind. But we have very few technologies benefiting us, essentially. The more we were told that the more technology we got, the better our lives would become. But
like the Jetsons.
We're working more hours. Yeah, we're working more hours, paying higher taxes, eating crappier food. I'm just saying, something's wrong. We have got to find solutions to our simplest problems. So that means growing your own food. That means stop commuting to a job that you hate. That means get out of debt. That means quit paying your slave masters. Get out of the system. Okay. There's, this is kind of a mainstream name, but Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
No financial person agrees with him. He's an out, the whole concept of staying out of credit, debt, slavery. It's the slave master society. We talk about Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War and ending, slavery, the abolition. Abolition.
They created the IRS years later, or the banking system, and
during the 1900s, debt was frowned upon. So, nowadays it's culturally sanctified. So really, what it is it's our culture. Our culture's the problem. Our culture's based off of vanity. Our culture's based off of greed and lust and those deadly sins, unfortunately, that, Catholicism's kind of in a bad place now because of all the pedophile crap going on. But they did, like everything in this universe, I don't think it's black or white. There are some inherent truths in places in this universe. I don't agree with the whole radical Islam, but I think Islamic culture has created some beautiful things architecturally. I know that much. It has created, there's billions of Islamic people. So if they were the full problem, there would be more than just ISIS groups. It'd be like all of Africa, it'd be the whole, there's a billion of them. But the point is that we have to find a way just to live for the future instead of just always living for today. Like, I know that's one thing that the metaphysical society is kind of out of touch with.
Sorry, I had a sneeze. I was trying to hold it in. My bad.
But they're about always, being in the present moment, and that's fine. But we have to think about our future and our kids and stuff. And I think if everyone took the time to look up Dr. Judy Wood, did some 9/11 research, that might be some interesting connections. Doc was saying the California wildfires. there's some interesting things going on there. I've just been delving into it, and it's right. They're saying it's right. The fires happen where that train is supposed to go. So, you always got to look for conflict of interest. But, some of those fires probably did happen, because of, I know there's people here in Colorado that are living out in the woods nowadays because of how poor our society is becoming. And then people are out in the woods squatting, campfires, and then they don't attend to it because, that homeless person's probably a drunk. So then they're just, they pass out, and then you've got your fire, catches on fire. And, that happened here in Colorado.
Yeah.
Just this summer, we had a big fire because of that. And he was an illegal immigrant from Poland or something, or Holland or something like that. And he burned 80,000 acres, drunk, fell asleep, let the fire burn overnight. So the thing is, it's us. We have to take responsibility for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be the change you wish to see in this world.
Yeah. No,
And
you do. I tell everybody, you can't sit around and wait for something to happen or an opportunity to come. If you can't find it, you gotta create it. Make it happen. I'm sorry if I seem distracted. I'm looking for this image that I talked to you about before the show that shows the mountainside of trees, and it's not a burn, it's like a cooked row of trees in a sense. It's in this one video, and I can do that, but I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to find the image from it. So go ahead and keep talking for a second. I just didn't want you to think I was being rude and not looking at you. I'm just trying to pull this up as you're talking. So go ahead.
well, so one thing Dr. Judy Wood pointed out that was, I thought, really fascinating was there's this image called the spire, the 9/11 spire. And there's this giant, it looks like when the buildings are coming down, there's a giant antenna. So just look, 9/11 spire.
Yeah. The thing at the very top, it was the antenna that came down last.
There's a giant column complex that looks like it's sitting there, and it's just, it's kind of like waving. But as it falls, it turns to dust. And now the only way, in my eyes, for aluminum and steel to turn to dust is with energy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some experiments by John Hutchison, where they
Hutchison effect guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they were blasting giant iron bars, and you can look Hutchison effect iron, and he turns this giant chunk of iron into this little smoldering ball, and it like smokes. And what's happening is fumes are being released. So, everyone, I think our culture has told us how to look at things. Like immediately, like when the planes flew in, that ball of flame that came out, that was all the jet fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you watch the buildings, they've got like a grayness coming out of them. It's not smoke.
Oh, the explosions out the windows?
No.
The pop?
I'm just saying, like, in general, just look at it and just look for anomalies. I think everyone should look at Dr. Judy Wood's work. She does better justice than I do. I'm just a dot connector, but she has really amazing scientific connections of all these different things that happened. And, there was, everyone talks about building 7. There were 7 buildings there. We talk about the 2 big ones and building 7. What about all the other ones?
Right.
They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the image of the topographical area, it's leveled. So anyways, here's another example. There's literally an ambulance parked at the front door in one of the images.
Mm-hmm.
The windshield is not shattered.
Wow.
And it's covered in dust. It's parked at the front doors of the building.
Wow.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, speaking of not making sense, I'm taking a still image from this video. I'm not playing the video for copyright, but I will tell everybody where to find this image. Let me pause, make sure it's paused. The website is amazing, and Josh, we're almost done, I promise. I want the whole purpose of the topic was because of this image that I've been waiting to show you.
Now let's see it.
But the website is a plaintruth.info on YouTube. So type in a plaintruth.info, and they are doing a Paradise Lost series, and they are on video number 41. They have been on top of this, and they're actually going onto the property of Paradise when people are coming back to their homes, the ones that are allowed to, and they're letting them tell their stories, what they witnessed, what happened, firsthand account. And then they're also been raising money up to $10,000 already and giving money to people Like a man said, if I just had my chainsaw, his house, everything burnt down, turned to liquid metal. So if I just had a chainsaw, I'd get back to work. So they're helping. These are good people. And they have a great website. And it's called theplaintruth.info. And I'm going to share it right now so you guys can see this image. I really want you to look at this closely, Josh. Okay. All right, here we go. And share. Okay. If you look, this car, nothing's burnt around here, right? And this car is blown out. But look right here. This is what I was telling you. Like if God had a magnifying glass and he just started like cooking it, not burning it. Do you see where I'm pointing at?
That's very interesting. Yeah, I do see it.
This was just released recently. So
see, now this is the thing that, okay, so this is what we need to get to these people. So people, they're being passionate about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we need the person to do is go lift the hood.
Oh, and see if the engine's in there?
See if the engine's in there, because the engine's a giant piece of metal. It's a huge chunk of metal. It's a ball of metal. So when these directed energy weapons hit, it vaporizes things.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean,
and what it's vaporizing is essentially the things that it's condensed vibrations. It's like a laser. And what a laser is essentially two mirrors. And they put a glow light between the mirrors. And one of the mirrors is partially transparent. And from what I understand, they burst a huge blast of energy and reflect it. And that is the energy weapon, is directed. It's a directed mirror, essentially. That's what lasers are, is mirror technology. So you're talking about big magnifying glass. You're right.
Yeah.
But what it is how fast light travels, right? So it keeps balancing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually that little transparentness allows a little bit of light through. And then they supercharge it with energy. And that is what causes it.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the other images where they show, I think it's not Raytheon. I think it was Lockheed, where they had the direct energy weapon and they had a truck, and it shows it melted right through the hood of the truck and just melted the engine block. And as you see, I watch a lot of footage. I don't watch a lot of music videos or anything. Or why do people watch other people play video games on YouTube? I don't get that. I just don't get it. It's like a weird voyeurism or something.
Everybody's into other things.
Yeah, I
think a lot of it is people are checked out because of how dystopic everything is looking.
True.
And it's probably not good either, because that means everybody else is checking out. So then it's like, it's a challenge.
It is. And here's something I brought up, and it came out of me on the.
I keep yawning. Oh my God.
Cool.
More oxygen in my brain.
Yeah. Well, we'll be wrapping up here in just a second, but I feel like I mentioned this the other night, that I feel the powers that be, the corporate entities and all that, they are force feeding us our future by just, here's the newest best thing. Here's the newest best thing. Get this, get that, boost your ego, don't worry, just press a button and it'll all work out just fine. There's an app for that, I just, because maybe I'm just getting older. People I talk to, they're saying time is just flying by faster and faster. And I feel like the powers that be are force feeding us this future. They're just like, oh, we don't have time to digest or enjoy the things we get. We have to get to the next Black Friday sale.
Well, and like I've been saying, it is a part of our culture. Like technology nowadays it's turned into distraction and entertainment. It's not really about making our lives better. It's not like we're buying a fridge that we can leave to our children. Most fridges or these appliances, they come and go. Our cars come and go. I mean, God, how many cars have you had?
Right.
I bet you can't. Yeah. Okay, imagine if we actually could build cars that you could pass on to your great great grandchildren. Okay, yeah, then all of a sudden capitalism fails. Well, maybe, but we can't just eat the whole petri dish either. I'm not like a slash and burn and gut everything capitalist, but I think inventors should obviously get the rewards of the hard work that they've built.
Right.
I think people should I don't know, just get inspired and create. I think there's so much ingesting of other people's stuff like you're creating right now. You created this show, and this is something new out there that somebody else isn't force feeding.
Mhm.
So you're out creating a dialogue, or you're out creating art. We need to, instead of being such consumers, become more creators.
Right.
And we need to be more inspired to create a better world for ourselves, our family, those around us. And it's so dumb stuff. I'm just saying, it's duh, obviously, but it's we get lost in
True.
this technology because we're on our smartphones, we're getting, and it's good though, because I would have never met you without that technology. So, it's not black or white, but I think we have to find again that neutral plane where we use it for our benefit, but we also don't use it to our detriment. We need a harmonious society where the people on top care about the people on the bottom, and the people on the bottom care about the people on the top too, because if it's the other way around where all the poor people hate the rich, then you're going to live in Bolshevik Revolution Russia, and 33 million people died all the way through to Stalin. I mean, we need to look at history. Yeah, for nothing, really.
Mhm.
Really what it was if you owned property, somebody could come in, a homeless guy, and just live with you. And eventually, after a few years, those homeless people living with you would kill the property owner because he would identify those things as his. And then in communism, nothing's nobody's, so nobody works for nothing. So then everything falls apart because everyone's getting paid the same. Why should I work any harder? And so I think we need to reinvigorate what the Western culture was about, which was discovery, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, and that's what I think the truth movement is.
Do you
And
think that's what the Great Awakening is? I mean, everybody's starting to finally take the red pill.
I've been talking about 9/11 since 8th grade. Like, something ain't right here. This doesn't look right. This is weird. And people but nowadays, it's so far in the past, people don't even talk about it. But
It's not now.
But years ago, there was a point where people looked at me and they're like, "You were so right, man. I looked up what you told me. Oh my God, this world is not the same." And then nowadays, a lot of these people come to me and they look at me and they're like, when I listen to the weird things you say, I just look and there it is. And I don't really question it anymore. And I think it's a dangerous position because I question myself a lot. And that's another thing too, is we don't want to just put bullshit out there. I don't know how the language is, but we don't want to be filling people up with useless information either. Like tonight, we're kind of just delving into things, but I could talk about how we could get energy systems set up, and we could build a better supply for your house.
I think he said too much. Where did he go? He's still there. What? Wait. Oh, there you are. We lost you for a minute.
Everybody in the house is streaming a YouTube video.
Oh, I thought you said something.
No, I'm just saying technology. It's neither an angel nor a devil. It's what we make it. It's us who is the angel or the devil. So the people that are using technology in evil ways should be pointed out. This is the new movement. We have to, like, these people, the tech giants, they're suppressing people's First Amendment rights. And yeah, First Amendment's only in America, but we should care about it because a lot of people died for that.
Exactly.
And, you know, the rest of the world, you know, China, they're getting a system built by Google to put pretty much a boot on their people. You know, they're already oppressed as it is. Like we think about these tyrants of Hitler and Stalin or Mao Zedong. Imagine if they had this technology. That is where we are essentially right now. Look at the Chinese leader. He is a supreme leader. He is just as powerful as Mao. He has, and see, this is the thing about me, is that I'm interested in the small things, but I also interested in these big things too. But the point is that we have to start with the small things. We have to start with our individual changes in our lives. We need to be open to information that is outside of what we would accept. You know, I wouldn't be interested in anything if I wouldn't have been open to new knowledge. I would have just been, you know, stuck in my same situation. I think that's where a lot of people, they get stuck in parts in their lives. And if we're always looking for inspiration and understanding, that we're going to be always developing in our lives, you know.
Yeah. We've got some more questions, and actually one of them is Dylan Monroe. Yeah, did this.
Oh, very cool.
But before him, I got to do this in order. We have Lewis, and he wanted to know what building material would not be affected by the new, or maybe he meant do, if any. He corrected. He said do.
Well, so now that would be probably a good technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they are using a directed energy weapon as their sword, what would be our shield? So, you know, what stops a laser? Not a lot. But there are some things that will stop it. Like a mirror. A mirror reflects it.
Big mirror, yeah.
Big mirror reflects it. But what if it's not that type of a laser? What if it's a microwave laser, a directed microwave? So then if you look at how microwave technology works, you want to ground out the energy. So possibly building a Faraday cage around your house might be the best option. What is a Faraday cage? It's a giant metal enclosure that's grounded to the earth. So when the energy hits it, that energy is going to run through that. It will go around that material and ground through the earth.
Right.
But that's speculation. I haven't actually messed with any of these directed energy technologies. I do know they've got fancy lasers nowadays that can burn through things. John Depew has elaborated that he agrees with the direction of this directed energy weapons and how that technology works. He knew something was up on 9/11 when it happened. If you have the eyes to see, you can see that, you know, people are going to use words. Smoke, automatically it's burning. Well, what if it's not smoke? What if it's fumes
or dust?
Or, you know, so we have to be careful with language. I think language is actually obstructing science. What we actually should be doing is using our senses, because what our senses are actually types of equipment. Like we bring in our voltmeter and you can check the voltage of a machine or your battery or whatever. That is a sensatory equipment. Just like our fingers tell us if something's hot, or if you look at something, you can see that it's geometrically beautiful. So it's our senses, the world around us. That is what science is.
Wow. All right. Well, Dylan Monroe wanted to ask about the Archon attack. I don't know. Did you guys talk about that before?
Um,
Do you know about the Archon attack?
I'm not sure. What is the Archon?
Well,
I've heard that term before.
I
It's
have
like
too.
it's like
Dylan, be more specific. Be more specific. Anyway, because this is his brain, so he's probably got Archon somewhere in here. It would take me probably a while to find. It took me a while to find Do, and it was right here off to the corner. It's kind of like Where's Waldo, but with everything that we discuss. Did you get a chance to see this at the event?
yeah, he gave me some of those. I've looked over them. They're very interesting.
Yeah, he's got
It's a lot of work.
the big one, and then there's the one on the Great Awakening, and he's got one that he's working on the Cabal, and here's the thing: is Q has recognized him. I mean, that's a Forrest Gump moment. That's like right on the cusp of historic incidences and whatnot, being a part of it. So, yeah, that's just kind of cool to me. I don't know. Anyway, but what else? So he was asking about that. Oh, that's the Archons attacking, he said, not a question. Oh, he was making a statement. My bad. Oh, he says when your screen froze up, it was the Archons attacking. My bad. See, because we get talking and I don't, the chat will just go by me and I'll
Sure.
go back. So yeah, all right. What else? So yeah, these weapons. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see how they're gonna be used again in the future. I mean, I feel we're already seeing them, but I do want to get into this, again, and maybe some other topics, especially about the equilibrious grid. Do you want to give a quick synopsis on that? Because I know you're getting tired, and we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I want to wrap it up so we can save some next time.
Well, let's just everybody look up John Depew, equilibrious grid or magnetic spectrum, magnetic gears, but you'll find a video on YouTube. And what it is a bunch of gears that are running, and it's a grid, and it's an energy grid of the future. And really, it's just showing that the universe can be put into harmony. And it's
is there any way to actually see this energy field instead of it just being there like the force? I mean, I know you can see it through computers and through that liquid, the lenses you were talking about, but I mean, like on a grand scale, like seeing in that dimension, those waves, do we have that kind of technology, or is somebody working on something like that?
Well, the one way you could probably do that is you take a magnet and put it next to a TV screen.
True. Okay. I've done
So
that.
you've
I got in
seen
trouble
that.
for that.
Well, that's good. You were experimenting. Sometimes you get in trouble when you experiment.
my dad, we had those gigantic TVs back in the 80s and 70s.
Mhm.
And one day my dad came home, he was a pilot in the Air Force, and he sees my legs coming out of the back of the inside of the TV, just sitting there tearing everything out. And, of course, the first question is, what are you doing? I said, I'm learning. He didn't like that answer, but that's, I've been that way ever since I was a kid. I love back engineering. I always wanted to be a back engineer over at S4 or something back in my early days. But
one of the things I like to do is, and this is what Ed did, essentially, is you go collect old parts. So I go to recycle places and I've picked up ignition coils, I've picked up transformers, I've picked up switches, I have all kinds of electrical magnet stuff, and you can put them together and build things. These are objects that do things, and it's like the universe is built of artifacts, and these artifacts can do different things. It's like a game. What parts go together to build a certain thing, and it's just about being creative. We need to quit destroying so much and create more.
Yeah, I totally agree. my mind has always been creative, like nonstop. So it kind of dumbfounds me sometimes when people are like, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. It's like, well, that to me it seems basic, but that everybody's got their skill set. That's mine. So well, let's do this. You got the yawns. I've already got the yawns off camera once or twice.
It's because it travels faster than the speed of sound. Yawn.
Because I have a theory on yawning. I have a theory that yawning is a subconscious form of communication between two beings to say, hey, let's meditate.
Oh.
You know,
I'll see you on the other side, buddy.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for hanging out tonight and educating us. We had a really full crowd of people online today, and they weren't asking; they were coming on just listening. So that's good. And
well, I always hop around. So sometimes if we can find directions, like those directed energy weapons, we can delve into certain aspects because it's such a broad subject, geometry and energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything.
But it's all connected. So, well, cool. Let's plan on doing this again in the coming month or two, and we'll just do updates, or we'll just keep doing chapters to this story, and see how that goes. What else? Yeah, I love talking to you, man, because you take me to places that I just haven't even thought about going down those alleyways or those paths, and it's just always awesome to talk to you, man. You coming to Disclosure Con? Come sell your art. Bring your art.
Next year?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I got to get the dates locked in. I think it's gonna be the 5th and 6th. I'm trying to get earlier so it doesn't back up to the film festival like they did this past year. But I think due to schedules of certain individuals, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So keep that time period area available. Love to have you out here. And this was our dress rehearsal year, so it'll be even bigger and better next year. So, well,
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And I'll give you a call here in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do my outros and whatnot.
Okay.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Josh Toms. Check him out at the website at J Toms Art on Facebook. And what was the other one? Or was there
CoralCastleCode.com is John Depew's website.
Correct. All right. So, all right, folks. We're gonna call it a night. That was probably my longest interview yet. So very, very cool. So it might take a little while for it to upload to YouTube. Just be patient, it'll get there. Until then, I will talk to you all on Christmas Day. That's right. I will be here Christmas Day. Little outfit and everything. Yes, I've got something special I'm wearing just for all of you. Okay, good night, everybody. Josh, thanks again. And I'll talk to you all on Christmas. Ciao, Bella.